we're going to be thinking together about the cleansing laws of prosperity. Now again, friends, this is the ideas that we're sharing here with you during this hour are ideas that most success courses don't talk about. Cleansing is the first step in prosperity. And if people around the world knew the cleansing laws or the cleansing steps to prosperity and used them, they would revolutionize their lives for good quickly. Life is a constant purification or cleansing process. The ancient Greeks observed rites of purification and cleansing, and so must we. If we try to bypass the cleansing laws of prosperity, we bypass our good, because we have not cleansed our minds and our lives to make room for the good that we want. Now, the cleansing law of prosperity, as it says here on the summary sheet, basically is very simple. You must get rid of what you do not want in order to make room for what you do want. Your good does not flow easily into a cluttered, crowded situation. Your good does not flow easily into a cluttered, crowded state of mind or emotion. And so we must form a vacuum in both inner and outer ways. Magnetic influences are transmitted perfectly through a vacuum. By forming a vacuum, we become a magnet to our good. And so it's a marvelous idea to work with. When we form a vacuum, we become magnetic to our good. Now, we can use it in many simple ways. Basically, get rid of what you do not want to make room for what you do want. And it's good to begin in an outer way. In other words, clean out the closets, the desk drawers, the house, the car, the office. Form a vacuum in an outer way. This makes a believer of your subconscious as you begin to do this. And you begin to get excited, and your subconscious begins to accept this idea and to work with you. It cooperates with you, and it begins to expect something good to happen. There has to be a release of the old to make way for the new. We can unblock and undam our good by forming a vacuum. A woman in Chicago heard about this idea one time. And I do not mean to suggest anything to you, but she decided to stay home the next day from work and form a vacuum. And so she started cleaning her house. When she cleaned out the closets, nothing happened. But when she cleaned out the dresser drawers, she found $30 she had stuck back and forgotten about, and that was her first prosperity demonstration from the vacuum idea. Now, another lady formed a vacuum by cleaning out all of her pocketbooks. And in one of them, she found $40 that she had forgotten about. And so it's an interesting idea to work with. A businessman cleaned out his office, and he found an old savings account book, a passbook, with $3,000 in it that he had forgotten about. It was 7 years old, so it would have been $3,000 with interest. Now you say, well, how could you forget that you had $3,000 in savings? Well, I don't know, but I'm inclined to believe that it really happened to this man, because once when I formed a vacuum by cleaning up and cleaning out, I found an entire book manuscript that I had written and forgotten about. Now, how could you forget that you'd written a book? But I had. And so I believe that this man had the same kind of thing happen to him when he found $3,000 in savings. And so it's an interesting idea to work with. And to get us into that state of mind, let's use number 4 together. Let's just begin to declare this idea. Number 4 on the front of your sheet I now let go worn out things, worn out conditions, worn out relationships. Divine order is now established and maintained in me and in my world. Together, I now let go worn out things, worn out conditions, worn out relationships. Divine order is now established and maintained in me and in my world. Good. A musician in Southern California learned about this vacuum law of prosperity, and he decided to try it. And so after the first night of our seminar, he went home and cleaned out his own private clothes closet. This was something that no one in the family could say anything about, you see, if he cleaned it out. And so as he started cleaning out his own private clothes closet that night, he got an idea. He was a public school teacher in the Los Angeles school system, and this was in the spring of the year, and he needed a summer job. And so as he cleaned out that closet, he got the idea for conducting a music workshop around the country in colleges and universities. And so he made a telephone call the next day to his agent, his music agent in New York, who liked the idea and got busy booking him for music workshops in summer school sessions in leading colleges and universities all over the country. Now, the second thing that happened after he cleaned out his closet was this. He said that he had needed more weekend work, freelance work, like playing for parties and weddings and for special events. And so the second thing that happened after he cleaned out his closet was that he got a telephone call from one of his neighbors who was also a musician. She said she had more freelance work than she could do, and could she start referring her overflow calls to him. And so she did, and this was his second result from cleaning out the closet. The next thing that happened was that on his way to work the next morning, he was on one of those crowded California freeways, and he saw a lady on the side of the freeway, and her car was stalled. And he said had he not been to the prosperity seminar, he wouldn't have stopped. But somehow he just felt in an uplifted state of mind and charitable. And so he stopped to see if he could help this lady in trouble. And he checked the engine of her car and decided that probably it was just overheated. So he told her he would wait a moment to see if she needed transportation to the nearest garage or not. So as he stood there chatting with this lady, he suddenly realized she was wearing a uniform, a white uniform, probably a domestic worker's. And so he asked her, and she said yes, she did domestic work. And he said, well, do you have any days, any spare days? He said, my wife and I have been looking for someone for a long time. And she said, yes, I have every other Thursday free. And he said, all right, you're hired to come to our house every other Thursday. Now, the second night of the seminar, he came back to the seminar, and he told us that these three things had happened in 24 hours. The music workshop, the weekend work, and the maid for their home. And he was very excited that second night. He said, if all of this happened from just cleaning out the closet, I can hardly wait to see what happens when I clean out the garage. And so it's a fascinating idea to work with. Now, it works on all levels. I did some seminars for some insurance executives one time, and of all of the prosperity laws that we talked about, this was the one that they liked the best. They all rushed home to clean things out and to clean things out and get things in order in their offices, but they loved this cleansing law of prosperity. And so it's a wonderful idea to work with. Now, friends, along with cleansing your life in general, getting rid of what you do not want, also get things in divine order generally, or get things in order generally. And as you do so, declare order. Because you see, the universe does not violate the orderly arrangement of events. Instead, our universal good seems to withhold the next development until order is first established in the present situation. So often we strain to get something that we want when everything in our immediate environment is out of order. And so we need to get things around us in divine order. This opens the orderly way for our new good to come to us. And so it does little good to strain for some new good to come to us and work hard to try to bring it about if things are in order, because we need to open channels to bring it to us. And order does that. Now, Emerson spoke of sublime order. In my books, I've talked about it as divine order. But he spoke of sublime order. He talked about man throwing himself joyfully into the sublime order. And so, when you get ready to start getting things in order, just declare, I am in divine order, I am in sublime order now. And let's just take this statement. I am in divine order, I am in sublime order now, together. I am in divine order, I am in sublime order now. Also, look at number 8 on the inside page. Number 8. I am rich, well, and happy, and every phase of my life is in divine order now. This is a marvelous statement to use. Let's declare it together. I am rich, well, and happy, and every phase of my life is in divine order.